Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1,000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So this is a new project which we are going to start with Angular 19. It's a small one, but it is going to have so many of scenarios with single with multiple, dynamic validation, hide and show some things based on the field we select. Okay. So the project idea is bank loan application. So many of you might have used some of the application from any bank. Whenever we have to apply or we search for any whenever we search for any loan, we have to take a loan. We visit any bank website and we do a basic application for the loan. Correct. So that considering that scenario, I have created some APIs and UI is already ready. That is already pushed to my GitHub repo. You can use the UI directly. Now, what model we are going to have? So basically, we are going to have two roles, customer and a banker. So let's say customer logged in and he will apply for a loan application, mean he will create a loan application. Then that loan application will get assigned to a particular banker registered to our application. Then banker will log in and he will be able to see what all the applications are assigned to him. Then he will analyze that application and he will likewise change the status like approved, rejected, hold, whatever it is. We are going to limit up to that. Actual bank application might have so many modules, but just to complete a small POC, we will stop over there. And again, once customer login also, he can see all the previous applications. Sometimes he might raise an application for loan, vehicle loan, sometimes for home loan, other it can be anything. So what are the application he has created, all he can see. Fine. So login, registration and login, because customer can log in also and banker also will the login. There will be a one admin login for the banker who will be creating all the other banker login. Customer will be creating the application, then it will go to the banker. He will see all the applications assigned to him. He will change the status of the application, and customer also he can check the all the application status in his login. So these are the various models we are going to follow. Again, this is Angular 19, so we will try to use new things what we have got in Angular 19. If you are totally new to Angular, I will suggest just go through any tutorial, either my or anyone. Just have a basic idea of Angular 19 also, because I will be using new things what we got, and then you can start. If you are really a fresher and if you directly jump on the project, some of the things you won't get. Project idea you will understand, but the logic and the topic we will be using, you won't be able to understand. So just go through the basic topic first. Now, so UI. So first we will have a login page. So this is the login page for banker and the customer. We will have a single login page. From here, login page will be visible. Now, if I need to register as a customer, so you just click on it, and over here you get the form to register as a customer. Fine. Then once you log in, you will be having a menu where you can create a new application. And navbar is not mentioned over here in the UI, but I will create it. So here you can create the application. While creating the application, you can see a single information is there, but loan detail. So whenever we apply for a loan, we have to provide existing loan details, like what are my existing loans which are going on. So based on that, banker will evaluate and then they will approve the loan or reject the loan. So multiple things will be there over here like that. On click of add, one more will be added over here. Fine. So single with multiple entity. Here we are going to use that reactive form and we will manage it. Then user detail. As I said, one role will be there for the where all banker will be available. So here banker login will be created. Then here all bank loan applications will be available. Like what are the various customer have created their bank loan application, all will be available over here. API. So I have created the APIs which will be working on 4209 port. Make sure you run on your project on 4209, then only API will be accessible. So these are the APIs, very small APIs which we can use. So login registration APIs are over here, loan application and certain application based on the role we will be using. So, and in YouTube project template, you will be finding a folder bank loan app. There you can find all the UI which I have created. Fine. Now let's start the project. So I have created empty Angular project, a basic Angular project I have created. So in my system, I have Angular 19. So you can see Angular 19 is there. Apart from that, I have installed Bootstrap and the font awesome. See, Bootstrap and the font awesome. This you can do by simply running npmi bootstrap and npmi font awesome. If you are using my HTML, then only you need it. If you are going to use material tailwind, you don't need this. Then after adding bootstrap and font awesome, I have added the same link in angular.json also. To use bootstrap and angular, to use bootstrap and font awesome in angular, you need to register external third-party libraries like this. Fine. So CSS will go over here. If you're using any JS, that will go over here. Fine. So that's it. This is the basic thing which I have done. Apart from that, it is just a normal Angular project. See, the basic HTML code also you will get. Now, whenever we have to start a project, first thing what we do, we create the component. We check the project, what components we are going to need, we create like that. So let's create the component. Now, component we can create in our app folder also. I'm not explaining all the folder and the file structure, considering you already know. So I should directly jump to the main point, what we should be focused on, the project only. Fine. So you can create the component in app folder also, but just to have a separate folder structure, it's a good approach. So I will create a folder in pages app folder, that will be pages. In pages, I will be creating a component which will be connected with my route. Fine. So let's right click, open a new terminal over here. So we will open a terminal, and now here I have to create the component. So let's say, again, this application we are considering as a website. So we don't need a admin or a layout component where we keep a navbar. App component, in app component, we will keep our navbar. And we need a login page. So you can see this is a separate login page. So we will need a login page. Let's create a login page. Ng generate component. Either you can write generate component as a full form or a shortcut also. Login. So this is the first component we need. After login, what we need? Login and registration will be there. Then new loan application, a component where we will just have the form. Ng generate component, new loan form. Second component. Then we will need one component where we will be showing all the users. Users mean banker. So let's name it as banker. Banker list. Then we will need one more component where we will show all our customer data. Just a get part will be there. Because obviously customer is going to sign up, so register. So we have to show the list somewhere, correct? So that is customer list. Then loan application list, where we will show the loan, what are the loan applications are there. So these are the basic component which we are going to need. If needed, we will create again. Now, as I said, or let's run the project first. So as I said, we have to run the project on port 209. So ng serve -port 4209. Enter. So this will run your project on port 209. By default, your application will run on 4200. So we need to run it on the 4209. Now I said we don't have navbar over here in the tool HTML template. So let's get the navbar. So I will just use the bootstrap normal navbar. You can use your also. Okay. I'm just using, just to save the time, I'm using the bootstrap navbar. Bootstrap 5. Again, remember we have a login functionality. So we are going to need a UI like this, where here I can have a login and the sign up button. So I will use this. So inspect. It's taking time. Yeah. So this is the navbar code I need. Right click, edit as HTML, copy, Control A, Control C, and this navbar will go into my app component over here. Wait, how come it didn't copy complete thing? Paste. Fine. So we have the navbar. Let's just try to access the application. If we are able to access it, localhost 4209. Enter. So now you can see we are able to see the navbar. But the links are at the top, so some style will be there. Yes, so you can see this style is there. Let's get rid of this. I don't design UI while creating the project because it takes like, it's a small project. Then if I start designing the UI also here now, So project length will get very big, around 2 or 3 hours. Doesn't matter because it's a small project, and UI is already there. Because what is the main thing? You should be focusing on completing the project. UI is anyhow we can do it by using Chat GPT or by using directly available material. You can design the UI, right? So that's why I skip the UI part. And you also you have an example ready with my UI template, but if you can think something innovative UI, you can also design because you know the example what things are going to be there. Now by using that concept you can design your own UI also. That will also help to imagine how your UI can be. So we have a navbar over here. Fine. Now we have created component, we have added the navbar in app component. Next thing, once we create the component, immediately next thing should be we have to create the routes. So we have got this app route.ts. So here we have to create the route. So let's create the routes. Now, whenever we are working on a project, we need an empty route. Means if user doesn't type something and he tries to access our application, some by default some component I need to render. Na? So for that I need a default route. So that will be path. Sorry, it will be with empty. Then redirect to, I will be redirecting to home, or let's redirect to login only. We don't have a home page or something. Path match strategy, full path I need to match. So this is my default route. After that, you need to create your respective route. Path, login, login component, then path. Likewise, we need to create all the components. What are the components we have created? Banker list. Banker list, component. Like this, you need to create all the component route. Fine. Let's just see if we are able to see if we are able to redirect to the login page. Yeah, here you can see the login page, but here login works is not coming. Let's see why. Some spacing might be needed. Now, so what we did, we have copied that navbar and put it into our app component. We created the route also. We created the empty routes also. Means by default route where it should go login. But it is not rendering the login page. See, in the URL, we are getting login. So if we don't have anything and enter, by default, it is navigating to login. But here I'm not able to see the login page. Why? Because our app component is there rendering. So in app component, we need the router outlet. So router outlet is a place which will, it's not a place, it's actually a directive. Router outlet is a directive which is responsible to load activated route component. Now if you see login work is coming. Fine. So make sure you are also doing the same. If you forgot one or two step now, you won't get anything. Fine. So let's close this. So now you can see on the page load, we are able to see the login component. Now what I will do, I will just create the remaining component route. I will just pause the recording. So just to save the time or keep the video length to minimum, I'm doing this. So you can see I have created the route. After you created the route, these routes I need to add it in the navigation also. So our navbar is over here in the app component. Now, for navigation, we have to import something. So that is router link. So router link you need to import. Then wherever you have to do the navigation, so that will be href, you will replace it by your navigation router link. Let's say first I will navigate on the home page, and home page we don't have home page, right? So what we can do, let's say banker list I will navigate. First I'm adding all the navigation, then according to the role we will hide and show. Fine. Banker list. Then what do we have? Customer list. So route name will go over here. Then we have application list where we can see all the application. Bankers, customers, applications. Let's copy paste one more time. And what else will be there? New loan. This is where customer will create a new loan application to redirect to the form. Fine. So if user is not logged in, here we have to show the login button. So login. And on click of login, we have to navigate also. So again, router link we will use, because for login, we have a separate page. So here, login will be there. Let's just save and check if we are able to navigate to the login page. If I click on login, okay, sorry, by default we are up there. If I click on banker, you can see we are able to navigate. Able to see? Again, if I click on login, login page is coming. Now here we need the login page. So login page HTML is there, right? So this login page we will use it. So now I will go to over here. This is the login page. So this is the UI. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here in the login. Some CSS might be needed. So let me just copy the CSS. Everything is over here. Just like I'm doing now, you also do the same thing. Your UI will work fine. Oh my God, so many CSS there. Let me just copy the whole style. I will put it over here. Then I will remove the style. Let's just save. Save. So login page is coming, but it is coming over here. How come? Some CSS was there for body now, and we removed it. Instead of body, let's create a parent class. Parent, and this class I will add it. One more parent container I will create. You also do the same, okay? If you are following my UI. Let's see. So now you can see login page is coming proper. Fine. So by default, we are able to see the login page. Now let's check the API. You can see we have login API, register as a customer, register as a banker. This API is not needed. I don't know why. I think this API we will use in the once user is logged in. So first we will complete the login process and the registration process of the customer. So if you see the API, register customer. So what thing we need to pass? User ID is the primary key. We don't need to send it. Means 0 we need to send. Username, email ID, full name and the password. So 4 field we are going to need. Let's check our register form. Let me move this tab over here. Now here you can see, here it was working properly on click of logging, this animation and everything. So if you see the code, it was happening because of this JavaScript code. Now what I need to do, I need to convert this JavaScript code into Angular. So what we are doing over here, container.class active and removing register button, add event click, login button. So we are just adding a dynamic class. Let's try adding this active class to the container and see what happens. So see, registration page is coming. If we add to the container div, if we just add an active class, it is showing that registration form, otherwise login form. So on click of login, so where do we have? Let's check by default what we are able to see. By default, we are able to see the login. On click of register means on click of this, we just need to add a dynamic class. Fine. So for that, we will need a variable. Show register form. Colon boolean will be there. Or as I have explained, like we will use the new thing. So we'll, instead of creating a normal variable, let's create a signal. So is equal to signal. What type of data we are going to store? Boolean. So boolean. What default value I'm going to assign? C, initial value. So initially it will be, let's say, false. Now I need a function which will which we will use to change the value of this signal. So change view. So I will be using a single function which will do the boolean toggle kind of thing. Change view. So this dot show register one. This is the signal. So we can make use of a set method. What we need to set vice versa of the current value. So this dot like a method, but not means whatever current value is there, vice versa. Either it is true or false, likewise. And this function we need to call. Where is that other? Here also we need to call it click function, and same on click of login also we will call it. But now we have just created a signal value and we are just changing it. But this signal value, we have to use it over here on this container to make the dynamic class. So what I can use ng class also, but to use ng class, again, you need to import ng class, right? But instead of doing that, we can use property binding also. So class equal to, if this variable means this signal has a value true, we will add this class, otherwise this class. So container class will be available both the time. Let's remove the static one. So if this signal has a true value, means we have to show the active. So let's save and check. Now our login form toggling should be working. So if I click on register, see, right? So what thing was there by JavaScript? This particular piece of code was with JavaScript. Now that same thing we have done in Angular. So while working in a real-time project also, now what happens? Many client will provide you the template or ready-made. They will purchase it from Theme Forest or something portal, and they will provide you the template, which is with HTML or something. But their code will be everything with JavaScript. Or you might also, while working also, now we have to find so many examples. But in Angular, we cannot find the example. Sometimes we might get example with JavaScript. But that JavaScript code, we need to convert it into Angular also. Again, that's the mindset why everyone will focus on JavaScript, because it's the parent language. If you know the JavaScript, you will be able to use the JavaScript code, React code, any code, and convert it into your native code, right? So that's why JavaScript is very important. Fine. Now, so login page is coming. Now we have to make the API call integration. And one more thing, like in register, we need some more field now. So what fields we have in API? Username, email ID, full name. Let's change. Let's say this is username, email ID, full name we need. So let's copy, paste. Fine. So now we got the field. Now on click of register, we need to hit this API. Again, to hit this API, we need to make use of the HTTP client. So from Angular 17, once we got a standalone component, from that moment, we didn't have that app module. So now we have got app config. So if you are going to make API call here in the provider array, what you need to do, you need to add one more element, provide HTTP client. This thing you need to add. Fine. This is the first thing you need to do if you are going to make an API call from your application. Now, you can make the API call from component as well. Again, like I'm creating this application so that you should be familiar with all the syntax. So for login, what we will do, from component only we will make the API call, so that you will be able to understand from component also we can make the API call. Then for remaining API call, we will move that API call function into our service. Fine. Now, so first, see, this is our object what we need to pass. So again, we are going to come with the form. So this is the object which we have to pass to the register API as a customer. So we need to, we have come to the form selection. Now it's a login form. It's a simple, very basic form. So I will go with the template form. Fine. So this is the object what we are going to use. So this object, what you can do, a very basic thing I'm explaining first. So what you can do here, you can create an object. So let's say I'm not creating class or interface over here. First, very basic thing I'm explaining. So let's say customer obj, variable name, data type : any equal to whatever the object you have. Let's replace this string with empty. Fine. So whenever we have to do the template form, first thing we have to do is create the object. Either you can create a class. If you know the class, you create the class. And then instead of any, you create the class reference. But for now, I'm just going with basic. You created the variable. In that variable, you have stored your object. Now this object you are going to bind to your form. But you are going to use ng model. So to use ng model, you need to import forms module. So in your component import, you need to add forms module. My forms module is not coming. It needs import slash forms. Let's add the import first, forms module. Then this form module, you need to add it over here. Fine. Whenever you are going to use ng model, you need to import the forms module. Then we have a registration form. Let's open it side by side. Always make sure whenever you are in practice mode also, or if you are working on the project also, make sure you split your screen like this. So your development time will be reduced by half, because ultimately you are not going to click multiple times. So this object you are going to bind to this registration form. So now we have a form tag over here. Make sure whenever you are using ng model inside a form tag, name attribute is also mandatory. Fine. So let's bind the data. So square bracket, round bracket, ng model. What we need to bind? Customer object dot. What we are going to bind it over here? Username. Let's copy paste this. Then let's remaining thing also we will bind. Email. Right. This is for full name, na? So full name will go over here. Email will go over here. Let's just save and check. We should get an error. I want to showcase you that error, what error we get. So you can see we will get this error. If ng model is used within a form tag, name attribute must be set. So if you are using ng model inside a form tag, this form tag, so then name attribute becomes mandatory. So name is equal to whatever the property you have binded, you can bind it over here like this. Let's just quickly do it. Fine. Let's just bind the remaining field. Password will go over here. Full name will go over here and email ID will go over here. Now, if you save and check, you won't get that error. Fine. So whenever you are using ng model, make sure you add that field over there, name attribute. Fine. Now, so on click of this register button, we need to integrate our API. So let's write the click event on register. Let's create this function. So you can see, you can see how it is beneficial if you have both the screen available. Again, you don't need to click over here and go that file. You get the view of both the files simultaneously. Now we are going to make the API call. So from Angular 16, previously for making API call, you have to create the instance of HTTP client, correct? But from Angular 16, we have got something new, that is inject. So that is the new thing what we use to inject any service. So HTTP is equal to inject. What we are going to inject? HTTP client service we are going to inject. So this is the new thing what you should follow. Instead of we used to do like this constructor and here private HTTP colon HTTP client. Here we used to do like this. But instead of this, you should use this way. Fine. Now inside this dot HTTP dot which API call? That is post method. URL we need. So let's get the URL. Where is your URL? So this is your URL. So let's copy. Again, I have deleted some record. There is a max 10 length record because my database was getting so much data and bandwidth was also getting increased. So I have to limit some particular user. So whenever you are trying to create it, if you get this error, so what you need to do, just delete some record by using this API. Get the ID and delete some record. Fine, then only you will be able to create the record. So this is my URL. This URL will go over here to register. Then for post API, we need URL and the object also. So object is like the object which we binded. So this dot customer object. Then we need to subscribe to the API call function result colon any. This is your success call. And if there is an error, we will get error callback like this. Fine. So this is your normal API call function. Once API call is success, you can see I'm getting the proper response. I'm getting an object like this. And inside that result property, I need to watch. If it is an error, we will get false over here. If it is a true, means API call was success. So let's write that if else code. So if result dot result is true, we will be get to know like API call was success, and we will use alert box. Inside that alert box, we will show customer success, whatever the message you want to show. Fine. And if in any error is there, we can show the error over here. I will use, let's say, network error. Fine. So this is your normal API call. Again, if you are a fresher, whenever you are writing some function and you are doing some operation, make sure you add a debugger at every place, just like this function. Fine. Let's just see everything now and let's test it also. Over here also, after subscribe also, you can add the debugger. Okay, one more. If block we have added, else block we forgot. So if we got false from the result, so we will get the error message in the result property. So res dot message. So this res is coming from over here. Okay, don't get confused. Let's try now. Fine. Let's just try test 123 as my username, email test 123@gmail.com, test 123, just a full name. Let's say 1234, password. Fine. Let's enable the debugger. Now, if I click on register, you can see API call function got triggered. If I hover on this object, you can see I got the data. User ID was primary key, so we set it as 0 in the object. So remaining data, we got it. Now, if I continue, see, in the result, we should be getting the response. See, username, it says username already exists. Let me show you the database. Oh, how come we are getting, oh, so I have a single table for everything, but let's just change. So you can see if we get false from the API, we got a false and we got the message name, and that message name we showcase. Let's change 123 to 1234. Fine. Let's just try now. On click of register, if we check the result, now you can see it is true and saying record got created successfully, customer registered success. So let's get this detail and put it over here, the username which we have created. This is for customer. And password was 1234. Fine. Now, so registration is success. Now let's try to do the login thing. So if you check the login API, we just have username and password. Fine. Let's just quickly do that also. So just like customer object, we have login object also. So login obj :any. What things we need? So let's copy that to field username and the password. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Instead of going with template form, now we will use reactive form. So this is the small object, right? Now template form we have done. Now we will use the reactive form. So if you are going to use reactive form, you need to import reactive form module. Fine. Then you need, instead of creating this object, you will be creating the form. Let's say login form form group is equal to new form group. Now over here you will create the controls. Control name will be same. Username : new form control. And we will initialize with empty, comma, second control name, that is password : new form control. We'll initialize with empty. So we have created our form. Now we don't need to create that object. Either you will, in template form, we create the object. In reactive form, we create the form like this. Now this form we need to bind to our login form. Let's open our login page again, side by side. Fine.
So this was our registration form. So here we have our login form. Again, here we have a form tag. So now on form tag, you need to bind form group. And then whatever the form name which you have created, this form name will go over here. And on all the input element, you need to use form controller name. Instead of ng model, you will use form controller name. Username will go over here. Then over here, it will goes password. In case of reactive form, you don't need that name attribute. That is only limited for the template form. Fine. Now on click of login button, so click on login. Let's create this function. Again, login is also post API. So I will copy this piece of code because the same structure will be there. But now here, first constant form value. So we have a form, we don't have an object, but for API, we need to send the object, correct? So how do we send that? We need to get the form value. We have a reactive form. So from that reactive form, we need to get the form value. So let's get the form value now. So this dot login form dot value. So here you will get the complete object, which you can send to your API over here as a parameter. And for login also, our URL will change login. And once we do the login, we need to either what we do normally, we can navigate it to some another page, right? So, and whenever you implement the login functionality, if login API is success, you will get the complete user data. That data you need to store somewhere in your application. Either you will use session storage, local storage, cookies, in service, but somewhere you need to store it. So I will simply go with session storage. So here I will say session storage dot set item. Now set item needs two parameter, key and the value, both in the string. So bank user, comma. Session storage will only allow string type of data, but we will get object over here. So that object we need to store by converting it to string. So JSON.stringify, and what we need to store? Result.data. So in data, we will get the object. I will debug this code, don't worry. Fine. And in the else, we will get this error. And once it is successfully stored, we need to navigate to some another page. That we will do later. First, we will just debug this code if we are able to log in successfully with the user which we have created. Now, where is the detail? So this is my username. This I will put it over here. Let's provide the wrong password. I want to check the otherwise first. On click of login, so you can see we got the form value over here. Continue. So if you see the result, we got false, and message also we got username and password is incorrect. That we are showing it over here. Let's try the correct password. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. Let's click on login now. So you can see we got the proper object now. Continue. Now in the result, you can see result got 2. And in the data, you can see we got the complete data. Okay. So this was the object which we have registered. Fine. So this we are storing over to the session storage. See, the data we are converting and we are storing to the session storage. Now go to the application, session storage, see bank user data. So logged in data, we have it over here. Now here you can see we got the role also. So if role is customer, we have to navigate to, let's say, my application or application page where customer will be able to see all his application. Fine. So because we single page we are going to use for the showing banker, and because application we need to show to the banker also and the customer also. So instead of creating two component, we will use the same component. Just API call, we will make it something else. Okay. So let's write that code. So from if user is successfully login, we need to navigate. For navigation, we have to make use of the router service. So let's create router inject. What we need to inject? Router. Router. And once you select now, import will be automatically added at the top. See, fine. It's not magic. So over here, this dot router dot navigate. So to navigate, we have two functions, navigate and navigate by URL. So if you just have to navigate by the URL, you don't want to pass any parameter, you can use the navigate by URL. If you want to pass an object, query parameter or something, you can go with navigate also. Fine, but both will work the same. Now, where we are going to navigate? Applications. Let's get the application route, application list. In this component, we are going to navigate. Let's just check if we are able to navigate to the application page. Again, I will do the login. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Login. Continue. See, we are able to log in. And we have redirected to the loan application. But we know we have logged in. How do we know? Because in our session storage, we have the data. So if user is logged in, here we should show the log off button and the logged in username also. So let's write that code. So now on the page load, we have to read the session storage data. How we will do? So we will create the constructor, and in constructor, we will read the local storage data, console logged data, session storage dot get item. Okay, the key with what we stored the data, that key we need to pass it over here. So this is the key, bank user. So this we need to pass it over here. So on the page load, we are reading the local storage session storage data. If user is logged in, we will get data over here. So if log data is not equal to null, means if user is logged in and in session storage, we have the data. So what we need to do here, what we will see, logged user data any. Fine. So whatever the data we get, that we need to store into this variable. But remember, while storing the data, we converted into string. So again, we need to convert it back to the object. So JSON dot parse method we will use, and in parse, what we will pass? Log data. So in logged user data, you will get the whole data. So this, if we have data in this variable, means user is logged in. Fine. So this check, we will use it over here. What we will do? So now we have to hide and show. To hide and show, we will use control flow statement. So this is something if and else. How do we write if and else in programming? Like that only we can write it in HTML also. But we just need to add @ symbol. If this variable is not undefined, we will show this form tag and @ else this form tag. So if user is logged in, means this variable is not undefined. So here we will say log off, and instead of primary, let's say warning color. And over here, we will show our username. So logged user data dot, with what property we get the data? Username we will show over here. So you will get to know like who is logged in over here. And in case of login, we don't need this. Let's just test this code. Okay, it is coming on white. Let's add a white color. And let's add a class text white. This interpolation we will move inside over here. So on the page load, we are reading the data and that data is available. So we see. Now on click of log off, what we need to do? User should, this data we have to remove and we have to navigate back to the login page. So let's write that also so that we will get it done with this login component. So on click of log off, click. Let's create this function. On click of log off, we have router link also. One more thing, we are going to remove the local storage session storage data dot remove item. So again, same key we need to pass it over here, bank user. let's just test. So you can see in the session storage, currently we have the data. If I click on log off, you see data got removed and we got navigated to the login page, because in the HTML we have router link. So that's why I didn't use router link over here, router service over here to navigate. Fine. So we are done with our login functionality. So customer is able to log in, customer able to register, customer is able to log in also. Fine. Now, next thing we will do for the major thing we will complete first. That is, where is that form? This form. Okay. So this form we will use to create our application, because customer can log in. So now he can apply for the loan. So UI is ready. Here we are going to use reactive form. Fine, because we have single with multiple reference. So we will use this. Now, let's start on that. So now we will start with this. Okay. So this UI, I just need to copy paste. So let's go to over here, add new application. So this is the container div. This I will copy and paste it into my loan application form. Fine. Then I think some CSS is also there. Let's copy that CSS. Let's copy. CSS will go to my CSS file over here. Then, yeah, that's it. So let's save and check if we are able to see everything proper. Yeah, so in new application component, you can see UI is there. Now, next thing what we have to do is, first, you can see this is single with multiple. So here we have some single information, and this is multiple information where we can add multiple bank loan also. So here we are going to use reactive form, because in reactive form, we can see that concept also, form array. Fine. So first I will create the basic form. Now, most of the time, what we do, we create a reactive form by using form group. This time what we will do, we will create a reactive form by using form builder. So let's create a reactive form. Now, the name I will be giving is loan application form colon, that will be form group, like this. I will initialize, sorry, form group is equal to new form group. We will initialize it with empty object. Fine. So we have created instance of our form group. Then we need the service of form builder. So form builder is equal to inject form builder, like this. So this is what we done. We have created instance of our form builder. Now we will create a method which will initialize our what do we say, form controls in our form. So let's say initialize form. Now inside this dot, what is it? Loan up form. This dot loan form is equal to this dot our form builder service. So form builder dot group round bracket curly bracket, enter. Now, what are the controls we have? So see, if we see the object, these are the controls we have. These are single control, and in loans, we are going to have array of object again. So let's say application ID. This is our primary key. So that will go over here, application ID colon. Then we have to get the square bracket. So application ID is a primary key. So we just have to initialize with 0. So initialize with 0. Then second field will be full name. So copy full name colon square bracket. So full name is a string data type. So we will initialize with empty, right? After that, if you need the validation, so you will add validators. Validators dot required, like that you will keep on adding. But again, validations will be multiple. Fine. So like that, you can add multiple validations also. Validation required, min length, max length, pattern, whatever you feel so. Fine. For now, I'm removing it because validation I'm not going to cover. So just like this, we need to add all the properties. So I have it already. So I will just copy paste that. So this will go over here. Just to save the time, I have created some basic form. Okay. So you can see application ID, what are the properties we have in our object, all I have created like this. Okay, so as I told you, like we are not going to cover this. So let's remove this with empty, and then, sorry, let's remove the invalidation also. We don't need it for now. You can do it, but I'm skipping it because I don't want to waste the time in validation. First, completing the project is should be our first priority. If I got the time, I will, once in this video, I will be covering the implementation only. In second video, I will be covering everything like validation, what all advanced things we can do. Let me just remove this. Fine. Now, so if you see the object here, loan, this is your, in this loan property, you are going to send multiple loan object, multiple array of object you are going to send. So for that, you need to create one more method where you are going to create a new form group, and that form group you are going to push to your parent form. Okay. So for that, let's create this method. So create loan form group like this. So over here, what we have to do, we have to create a loan form so that you can see what things we have: loan ID, application ID, bank name, loan upon, and EMI. So what we will do, from this function, we are going to return a form group. So return this dot form builder dot group, round bracket, curly bracket. Now, what are the fields we have? I will just copy paste those fields. These are the fields we have. Let's remove this first single quote. And here, square bracket, loan ID will be 0. So I will initialize with 0. Again, application ID also 0. This is foreign key. So you just have to send the 0 only. Then this is going to be empty. Then loan amount should be initialized with 0 because it's an integer value, and EMI also 0, like this. So this function, why it is saying, okay, so form builder object will be over here. So this function is, the purpose of the function, it is going to, whenever we call this function, it is going to return an instance of loan form. Fine. So that when we are initializing this function, we are, by default, we are pushing one form group into this. Okay. Then, so we have created our reactive form. Inside that, loan is our, should be in small case, loan is our form array. Okay. Now, let's just provide the data type also. So this function is going to return form group of data type. Fine. So we have created our form. Then now this form I need to bind. Oh, one more thing. On the constructor, on the page load, we need to call this function. That's only our function or form will get initialized, correct? So this function, I need to call it over here in the constructor like this. Fine. Now in our form, we need to bind whole controls. Let me just show you how we are going to do that. So this is our whole form. See, over here we have the home form. So what we can do, this is the form tag. So on this form tag, we will add our form group. But before that, since we are using reactive form, so we need to import reactive form module like this. Then we can use form group, and we have to provide our form group name, that is loan app form over here. Then what are our single control? So that we need to bind. Now, from full name now. Where is full name? Yeah, this is the full name. So form control name is equal to what we will bind over here, full name. So this will go over here. Let's copy. Then we have email. So here we will get an email. Email is over here. So just like this, all the controls I will bind. Okay, so I'm just pausing it. Let me just bind everything. So let me just show you what I did. What are the controls we have that I have binded over here? You can see employment status, everything I have binded. Now, here comes the thing we have to do for the dynamic one. So if you see the UI, here we have the table. So what are the, once we click on add more, what are the, either we can go another way. See, Either what we can do, we can have this as a dynamic, or we can on click of add, we can we can create a new form group and then add it over here. Instead of that, now we will repeat this form. That will make more sense. Fine. So we won't have this table. On click of add, one more row will be added. Fine. Let's just do like that. So we don't need this table. For now, I'm removing it and call 7. Let's say call 7, it will go over here. Fine. So on click of add, or add button should be at the top so that multiple, but I can add. Let's get this button. Okay. Why it is not behaving same? Let's say. Fine. So if I click on add, one more row should be added over here. Like multiple loan details I should be adding. Now, so when it comes to binding a dynamic form, so what we need to do certain things. Okay. So first thing, let me just arrange it properly. First, we will complete the HTML part. So what we normally do is we need a function. Okay. We need a getter method, not a function, get method. So that will get us the form array of the form array means loan. So here we are going in this control, we are going to store a form array. So here we need a method. Let's say it will be a get method loans round bracket. Our data type will be this function is going to return a form array. So form array. Now we have to write return. What we need to return? We need to return this dot application form dot get. What we need to get? Particular control name. That is control name is our loans. So this we will get. And here we need to provide the data type as form array. Fine. So what we did? We have created a get method which is returning the instance of the particular control, which is a form array. Now this, what do we say, loan, we can bind in our HTML. So that will be this loan. Sorry, first this loan we need to bind it. This is the dynamic, right? So on this div, I'm adding form group. Sorry, form array name we need to bind. Form array name is equal to our control name, that is loans. So this we will bind it over here. This is the first thing. Then we need to iterate it also, because what are the controls we have that we are going to iterate. So for that, where is that? This is the row which is going to be repeated. See, this is the row where we have all the three elements. Sorry, let me just. Okay, so see, this is the row where we have the form and this should be repeated. So now this should be repeated. So here we can give at the rate for loop, and for loop we will iterate on this loan. So loan, what it is saying, loans. Okay, both names are same. Let's say loan list. Let's add it over here. Why it is giving error still? On dot control. So inside that we are going to have multiple control. Fine. So you can see we are using for loop. Now what are the various form group we have added that we are going to iterate? So this row will be in our for loop. Fine. Let's just save and check if we are getting one loan detail. Yeah. So here we can see one loan detail is there. Now on click of add, what we have to do? We need to create a new loan. Fine. So for that, let's add a function. Click add loan. Fine. Let's create this function. Now in this function, what we need to do, we need to create a new loan form and that we need to push it. So this dot our loan application form dot in what we are going to push. Sorry, this dot loans or what? Yeah. So loan list, because here we got the instance of our loans. So this dot loan dot push, and we have already created a function which is going to get an instance of our loan form. So this function I will pass it over here. So whatever the output I get, so this function is going to return a form group, and that form group we are going to push it over here. Let's just save and check. So if I click on add more, you can see dynamic form is getting created. Understood? Fine. So this is dynamic form we are able to create. Now inside this form also we need to bind the form controller name. So over here, form control name is equal to, now our, this is for bank name. So this control name, which is in our dynamic form, this we need to bind it over here. Over here, EMI will be there, and over here, loan amount will be there. Need, and let's say after adding, I need to remove it also. So here we will add the remove button also. So let's get this button, remove loan. Let's add a danger color, BTN danger. And this function, now see, we have added a button, but whenever we are iterating, see over here we are iterating, so we need to provide a unique form group name also. Why? By that we will be accessing a unique form, right? So form group name, why it's not coming? Group name is equal to, we will pass dollar index. So each form will have unique form group name. Wait, why it is giving error? Cannot bind congruent to a known property. Form group name. Form array name, we have added it over here. Then here we are going to get an index. Why it is saying, let's try without property binding. Form group name. Spelling mistake was there or what? Yeah, I think spelling mistake was there. Fine. So each form will have a unique name now. Okay. So this index, we will pass it as a parameter over here, so that which form group you need to remove. So by using this, we will remove it. So let's create this function. Now what we need to do, we need to remove particular instance, right? So this dot loan list dot remove at, and here you can pass the index. And this index you will pass it over here to get removed. Let's just save and check if we are able to remove it also. See, okay, I think label I didn't change. Save and let's test it one more time. So add, you can see I'm adding something over here. See, if I'm removing the ASD1, see, wait, is it +1 or what? Why it is removing the last one? No, something is behaving incorrectly. Let's say AAA, BBB, CCC. If I click on remove on BB, it's removing CC. And if I click on A, why it is removing one last? Do we need to +1 or what? Everything we are doing correct only. Whatever the index we get, that we are doing it. Let's try to check it. Debugger. AA, BB, CC. Let's try to debug the code now. On click of BB remove. So index we got 1. So if you see the lone list, 0, 1. So it should remove this one. But why it is removing the other way around? What's wrong? Remove at, and we are providing the index, whatever the index we have to remove. But it's not behaving the same. It's not behaving the same. Okay, let it be. It's removing. I will check. Fine. So first we will complete it. Now, so we have created the form. That form we have binded to our whole form also with the all the element. Dynamic form also we have binded. Now on click of save, we need the form value, and that form value we will send it along with the API. Correct. So we have this save button. So let's write click event on save. Let's create this function. Now, as decided, let me just close now. So as decided, we are going to, what we say, we are going to create a service now. So in login component, we have done the API call from component itself. But instead of doing that, we should be move our API call code into our service. So now in app folder, I will create a folder, services, and inside services folder, I will create my service. Let's open a new terminal. So ng generate service, let's say only one service I'm creating. So I will give it name as a master. Again, I'm repeating, if you are new, these things might be hard for you. So just complete the basic tutorial first, then only jump to the project. Directly jumping to the project won't help you. Fine. Now, so in this service, we need to create first API call function. So again, here we need to create the instance of our HTTP client. So private HTTP client on save loan. Fine. Now here we are going to return whatever the data we get from the API call. So this .http dot post API call it will be. Now URL. So URL will be almost same up till over here. Just our method name is going to change. So let's check our method name. So our method name will be add new loan application. So this method name, we need to add it over here. And this function we are going to call from the component, and while calling this function, we are going to pass the object also. So that object we need to catch. So bj colon any like that. And this object I'm passing it over here. Fine. So this is our normal API call. But understood the login component when I said this is also we can do by use app any. But the actual use will be we should be creating a class of it. So this is our object which we need to send to API. So we have to convert, we have to create a class with all these properties. So what I can do, I will use an online tool, convert JSON to TS. So this site will help me. Why it is not saying? So this site will help me to convert a JSON into TypeScript object. See? So what I will do is I will just copy this now and I will put that in a new file. So inside app folder, I will create one more folder that will be, let's say, model. And inside model, I will create one file. Let's say this is loan.ts, a simple TypeScript file. And here I will put it. So we can create class or interface, but in class we have to initialize the property. So I will go with interface. I loan. Whenever you create an interface, try to provide the name starting with I. So normally when we work on an industrial project, by checking the name only we should understand. So we just follow some standard. If you are creating a class, we provide the class name directly. If you are creating an interface, we add a prefix I so that we know like this is an interface. Okay, loans array is an array. So I will just provide any over here. Fine. So loan instance we have created. Now in our service over here, instead of any, I can provide the data type because this type of object I'm going to get. Fine. Now, so in service, we have created our API call function. Now this function I need to call into my component. But here we need the object. Here we have created the reactive form. So we need the object. So constant form value is equal to this dot application form dot value. So here you will get the whole object and multiple loan details also. Then we need to call the particular function from our master service. So let's create instance of our master service also. Inject. What we are going to inject? Master service. Fine. Then in our function, this dot master service, currently we just have one function. This function needs object. So object we have got it into this local property dot subscribe, because that function, this function is returning data type of observable. See, observable, because here we have said return. So whatever the data API call, post API call, what data it is going to return? Observable type. So whatever this particular line is going to return means observable data that we are going to subscribe over here. Round bracket result colon any. Now let's check the API response. What type of API response we are getting? Okay, so we are going to get this object, right? So let's create interface for this. As I said, we should not use any. Wherever you are using any and you know like what properties you are going to get, so just create an interface. So over here, export interface I API response. These are the properties. This will be Boolean. And last one can be any. Sometimes in data we can get a single object, sometimes we can get multiple object also. So here I can keep it as any. Let's make it small one, R and data. Fine. So I have created interface which will denote my API response model, because from my all API you are going to get the same response model. So now instead of using any, you can provide the data type like this. Let's add the import also. Fine. But here we are getting the error saying, because while returning the data, we didn't specify the return type. So here also we need to specify the return type. Fine. If you save, now you can see that error is gone. Again, so if result is true, we will say API call is success, alert. What we can say? Loan application created success. And if we get any error, it will go to the else block, and in else we will show our message we get from the API. So that is res.message property. Fine. Let's just add a debugger over here and let's check. First, let's check how many loan applications are currently over here, because everyone is using these APIs, so applications might be there. This is the API which will get you all the loan application. Okay, currently no loan application is there. Fine, let's try to create. But one more thing we forgot. So if you see the loan application object, here you can see we need to pass the customer ID. But if you see the UI, we don't have customer ID, correct? So customer ID is like logged in customer ID. So in local storage, okay, we didn't log in, I think. So let's log in first. Just let me open that Angular tutorial one. This was the login detail for the customer. Let's log in. Password was 11234. So now we know like which user is logged in. So in local storage, we know the logged in user. So this user ID is nothing but customer ID. So this customer ID, we need to pass into our object. So when we are initializing this reactive form, once we initialize this reactive form, after that, we need to read the local storage data. So constant logged is equal to session storage dot get item. And what's the get item? Our key name is bank user. In this key, we are going to store the logged in data. And again, whenever we are reading the data from local storage or session storage, we have to add a null check. So if log data is not null, we have to convert. While storing the data, we have converted into string format. Again, we need to convert it back to the object also. So constant data is equal to JSON dot parse, and what we will pass? Log data. And here we will get the logged in data. So now that logged in data, we need to assign it over here in customer ID, because we need to see like who has created this particular loan application. So that's why we need to read the logged in data. So that we need to set it. So this dot application form dot controls square bracket, and here what we need, this control customer ID dot set value. What we will set? Data dot user ID, logged in user ID, which is nothing but customer ID. Fine. This we have done. Let's try now. So full name, let's say I'm going with my name, Chetan Zogi. Let's say email chetan@gmail.com. This also we can pre-fill, okay? Because in local storage, you can see we got the full name and everything. But I'm again typing it something. 9988. And remember, these APIs are free. Everyone is using it. So make sure you are not putting your original phone number and original email ID. Just put the dummy one, okay? Date of birth. I'm not adding any validation, but you can do the validation. Fine. Annual income, employment status, employed, credit score, something, city, Pune, MAH 112233, address. Let's get this address. Then loan detail. Let's say bank name HDFC. Loan amount, let's say 20,000. EMI, let's say 500. One loan detail I have added. Let's click on add. Another loan detail I have to add. Let's say SBI. I have 60,000 loan. EMI of 800. Something random detail we are adding. Now, on click of save, our function should get triggered. Do we have added the debugger? Yes. So on click of save, now you can see the whole form value. See, form object you got, and in loans, you can see two things we have got, HDFC loan and the SBI loan. So you got an object with inner object. In one property, you got the array also. So this is what API needed. Let's add a debugger over here. Let me show you the service also. Over here also, you can add the debugger. So while calling this function, you are passing the object. So if I continue, see that object you got it over, and this object you are passing with the API. Continue. We got error. 400. Date applied. Date applied. How come date applied is not there? We didn't say date. Oh, date applied is empty. I think date applied is not there in our form. So date applied, we just need to pass the current date. Where we have date applied. So here instead of empty, I will say new date, means current date I will pass. Going to do it everything again. Let me just do it quickly. So that was the error we got from the API. Okay. Employee credit score 12. Everything detailed. Let's say HDFC 50,000, 500. One more loan I will add. CI. Fine. Now let's try to debug. On click of save. We got the form detail, continue, continue. Yeah. So now again we got false. Why we got false? And message is also not there. How come? Actually, I didn't tested the API. I just created it. Let me just test it if we are getting the data. No, we are getting empty. Let me check the project. API project, I'm checking why we are not getting. Let me check the, let me debug the API, why API is not allowing us to save. Then again, I will start. So the issue was, I'm not sure like issue was, oh, just add one more record. What I'm trying to do, because I saw the API, once we create the loan application, that application should get assigned to one of the bank employee. But currently we didn't create the bank employee, so that's why code might have broke over here. So that's why I'm in the database, I'm adding an employee, which is bank employee. Fine. So let's say Sachin EMP, Sachin emp@gmail.com, Sachin Bank EMP. What's the role? Role is bank employee. Today's date. Password 223344 and bank loan. Project name. Why it is not coming? Why record is not getting created? Let me use the Swagger to create a bank. Sachin. Username as this. Email ID. Execute. Okay, so from here it is creating. Yeah, so see, I don't know from database why it was not creating, but from Swagger it is creating. So let's try to hit our API again. So previous API got failed. We didn't get any message also. Now if I click on save, let's try this time. Yeah, so now you can see it got that bank employee was present. So now you can see it is true. Fine. So our loan application is created successfully. Now if we check our get API, get all application API. Oh my God, why it is coming again? Get all application, it is empty. Let me see the table. Loan application, not loan, other loan. Loan application. Wait, how come data is not getting inserted? Loan applicants. Same table I am referring. Okay, let me debug the API first. Okay, so there was a problem with Git application. I had a join with multiple tables. So there it was wrong join I have written. Now I have corrected it. So now you can see a data is coming. So you can see in Gate API, we are getting limited form only. Application ID, date applied, application status, by default it is new, full name, email, employment status, and who is assigned to. So Sachin Bank MP, this application got assigned to particular bank employee. Fine. So now we have completed our save part. This was a major one. Now these applications I need to show also. So currently the logged in user is, now we will show and hide some things also. Fine. So in application, so this component is responsible to show all the application created. So now this same component we are going to use, as we decided, we are going to have two roles, banker and the customer. So same component I'm going to use for banker also and the customer also. But if you see, we have two APIs. Get all application APIs, like here, this API is responsible to get all the application. We don't have any filter over here. Again, we have two APIs. Get my application. This is for customer. Here, if you pass the customer ID, you will get the application created by you. Fine. Then one more API is there, get application assigned to me. This is for banker. If the logged in employee is banker, he will be able to see application assigned to him. Fine. Now I will just create one more. I will just create certain data, because then, or first we will just integrate the API. So now let me just. So this is the component. Now in this component, we have to do two API call based on the role. So if logged in role is banker, we have to call one API. If logged in role is customer, we have to call another API. Fine. So let's do that. So first, in our service, we will create the function call for our API. So get my applications. This is for customer. So again, return this dot http dot get. Fine. Again, our URL will be constant till over here. Then we just need a method name. So my application, and we have to pass the query parameter customer ID. So our URL should be like this. So this I will copy and it will go over here. Fine. Then this customer ID we need it as a parameter. So ID colon number, and whatever the ID we will get, that we will pass it over here. So plus ID. So our URL will be dynamic. Again, we just need to add the return type also. So this we will add it over here. Just get my application, just like that. One more API call will be to get the application assigned to particular banker. So get application assigned. Fine. Second API call function. So that was get application assigned to me. Let's get the URL. Like this. Fine. Now, so in service, we have created two functions. Now, in our component, let me close everything. So first, we need the instance of our service. So let's create that first. Master service is equal to inject master service. Fine. Now here we need to based on the logged in role, we need to call another function. First, we will call the two function, or we will read the logged in data first. So constructor. So you can see now in app component also we have done the same thing to read the local storage data. Then in loan component also we have done again the same thing. So this is repeated code. So instead of doing this, now we can move this code into our service. So we should not repeat our code, right? So this code I'm putting it over here. And wait. Yeah. Okay. So now in the service, I'm creating a variable logged user data colon. Now we need the instance of our log user also, like what data we are getting. So let's create an interface for that also. So where is our login? What data we get? Let's get the. I'm just going to create an object. Fine. So that's why I'm trying to log in over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the object which we are going to get. So let's create interface of it. Interface. Fine. So this is our interface. This we will create into our loan.ts file. Interface, and this will be user. Fine. Now this user, we can use it over here in our service. Instead of any, we will use this user. It's an interface. So let's add the input. we have created a variable and we have provided a data type as an interface, but it's not initialized. So we can just add a question mark, not null sign. Then here, instead of local variable, we will assign to this. So once ever we created instance of our master service, this code will run, and in our logged user data, we will have our logged in user data. So now wherever you need the logged in user data, you will use this variable instead of again reading the whole data. So what you will do, you will just add it this dot service dot this variable. So again, in every component, you don't need to read the session storage data. And then Mr. Service dot this like this. Fine. So now wherever you in your whole application, wherever you need the logged in data, this is the variable you have to follow. Fine. Now in our application list component, if this dot role is equal to, what's the role we get normally? Customer. So if the logged in role is customer, we have to call one function, else we have to call another function. Fine. Let's create respective function. Get my application, get customer application like this. And here this dot master service dot get my application. And here we need to pass the customer ID. So again, customer ID we have already over here dot user ID dot subscribe. API response model. So instead of any, everywhere we are using this interface. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it also. So that will be, let's say, application list colon. Now we need the interface of our application list, what kind of data we are getting. So for that also we need to create interface. Let's check it. Get all application. So this is the object which we are getting. So let's create interface of this also. Again, just to save the time, I'm using online compiler to do that. Let's copy. Again, we have to create it. Interface I application list. Fine. Now over here, instead of any, we are going to get array of this. Like this we will do. We need the import. Let's say update it. And the data we will get it over here, that we will store it over here, res.data. Fine. Just like this function, we will have another function to get assigned applications. So you can see get application assigned and again user ID. So if logged in user is this, we will call this function. And if logged in application is not customer, means it's a banker. So we will call this function. So see, one component is getting used for two roles also. So based on the role, we are calling another API also. Fine. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to show it. So over here, I think I have the UI ready. Let's get the CSS. This is the CSS part. Let's get the HTML part. Fine. So this is the table. Now inside table, this is the repeated tr, right? So this tr I need to repeat. So let's repeat it. So @ for loop. In application list, we are going to get the array, so that we will use it over here. This tr will go inside my for loop. So now here, what things we have to show that we will use it. Let's say application ID or full name I will show. Like that, I will just copy paste. So you can see just because we have binded our object with the proper interface, it is IntelliSensing all the properties also. Assigned to bank employee, customer phone. What are the details we get from the API that we will showcase over here? Email, employment status, and something else is there. So let's show everything. Full name. Fine. Let's just save all and let's check. If we go to applications, right, something is not right. We have an error, I think. What's the error? See, bank loan customer ID is also going, but it is saying cost policy. Let's check the URL and our URL then. This is for, okay, method name is not there. See, bank loan, after that method name should be there, na? So this get my application was remaining in the service. Slash this. Okay, and then now it should work. Just like that, in the below function also we did the same mistake. Let's try now. So now on the page load, we will have an API call. See, we have an API call and data is also visible, but why everything is not coming? Okay, now see, if you are logged in as an employee, if you are logged in as an, what do we say, customer, you don't need to show that full name. You know your name. So that's why from API, you are not getting the full name. Only certain fields are coming. Application status, assigned to, date applied, and employment. Only 4 fields are coming. Now that same check, because data is not coming from the API, so there is no required to show that in over here also. So again, we can use the same loop. So master service dot role, if it is customer, then only we, if it is not customer, then only we need to show the full name and everything, right? So now this for loop at the rate if not equal to customer means it's a banker, then only we need to show certain fields. This also will go over there. And employment status is also going over there. Heading is dynamic just like that. Over here also it will be dynamic. Full name. So the other 4 fields we are getting assigned to bank employee, date applied, employment status we are getting. Anyway, employment status we are getting. So let's put it at over here. Let's save. Employment status, annual income. Wait, annual income full name is coming. How come? I think from API we are not getting annual income. Annual income we are not getting. So let's remove that column. Credit score also we are not getting. Assets also not getting. The employment status up. Wait. Application status. Employment status also not required because I know what my employment status is. So this will go over here. So This 4 heading will be available only if logged in user is not customer. Means for banker, this 4 field will be visible. Full name, customer, phone number, then there will be email and employment status. Then application status, date applied, and what we are getting, assigned to bank employee. This will go over here. One more column will be needed. Assign to application status, date applied. One more heading we will be needing. Date applied. Let's save now. Fine. So see, now it is coming proper. If I logged in with banker now, let's try to log in with banker. What was the details we had? This is the username of banker and password was 223344. Now our logged in role will be banker. But no, why again same thing? Application role is bank employee only. Again, same API call is there. How come? Okay, now it is there properly. Fine. So see, if we logged in with another role, you can see all the APIs are there. Currently, bank employee is logged in. Fine. So if logged in employee is bank employee, we don't need to show new loan. So this link should be only available for the customer. So again, we will do the hide and show. Our navbar is in over here. Have we created instance of? No. So here also we didn't create it, right? So let's create an instance of our service because logged in data we already have in service. Inject, what we need to inject? Master service. And instead of doing this, we can directly use master service now. Like this. Okay. Now we need the role also. So this particular li will be visible if it is customer only. Role equal to single quote. What was the role we were getting? Let's check get all user customer only. So if the logged in role is customer, then only this particular link tag will be rendering. This we will put it over here. Let's just save and check. So see, if I'm logged in as a banker, wait, why come data is not there? So in app component, we are injecting this master service, and in HTML we are directly using, okay, here we are not using that. So this variable over here. So now we don't need this variable also, which we created earlier. I'm not removing it. Let it be like that. Fine. So if logged in role is banker, so you can see it is not, that link is not available over here. Fine. So half the part we have completed. Customer is able to register, he is able to log in, banker is also able to log in, customer is able to apply for the loan, and that loan is applicable, that loan is visible to the banker. Now, banker will decide if he want to approve or reject the loan based on the application detail he can see. So that part is left. Fine. Let's start with that now. So as I logged with, we have in the bank login, we have to implement if whatever the application he has assigned, like what are the loan application he has to process, that will be available to him. Fine. So let's just log in with bank employee first. So one more issue is there, right? So we are reading the data from the local storage, right? So every time we have to refresh this to get the updated data because app, once you navigate or once you log out, your app component is not getting rendered. So for that, I will do it later. But first we will complete the functionality. Let me just check the banker login again. Let me just open the database. User master was there. Okay, wait, from here also we can see now. So this was a bank Sachin employee. Let's log in with him. And what was the password? 223344. So we are currently logging with, so you can see logged in username is not coming and nothing is coming. So if we see the application, one application which was created by Chetan Zogi, it is assigned to Sachin. Now, bank employee will see the application and he can change the status of the application. Now to change the application, here we can create one more column and there we will just show a drop down. Fine. So let's close everything. Now, what we will do at the last, we will create one more column, or in the action, we will do it. So instead of having this, we will create a select option. Let's say select status and some option will be there. So by default, we will get new. So we need option, new. Then let's say he can approve it. Then what are the status we can have? Let's say rejected or waiting on hold, something, anything. Okay. Now what I need to do, once I change this drop down, I need to make this API call. So to change the application status, we have a GET API. See, and what do we need to send? Wait, but what I code, we are not sending status over here. So what logic I have written? I'm just checking the API. List dot application status. Change application status. Oh, let me change the API because I think API is not correct. Just give me a moment. Fine. So this is I have changed the API. So now you have to pass two parameters, PAN number and the status. Why PAN number? Because for one PAN number, there will be only one application which is in new status. So we are reading that and we are changing the status. So two parameters, status also. So whatever the status you send, that will be assigned to the application. Fine. I have deployed the API also. Let's reload. So now if you check, we have got two parameters. Now, fine. So this is how we will execute. Let's say I send the PAN number and let's say on hold. Now we have to pass two parameters. So check the URL. So see, if I'm passing the wrong PAN, it is saying like no loan application active with this PAN number. So this is our URL should be like. So let's create a API call in our service. So this will be simple GET API call. So let's just copy one function and it will be change status. Now we will need two parameters, PAN number, which can be have data type string, then status colon string. Fine. Then our URL. So URL will be like this. So let's copy this. Let's paste it over here. Now over here, you can see we need to now make it dynamic two parameters. So double quote plus concatenation we are using. So first PAN number will go over here, then status. Like this. Fine. So our API call function is ready. Now this function I need to call on click of on change of this. So on change set status. Let's create this function. Again, a normal GET API call. So I'm just copy and pasting this over here. Now change status. Now this function needs two parameters. So if we are calling from over here, we get in item, we get the whole object. But I think PAN number we don't get in the GET API. So if we need to pass the PAN number, we should get it in the GET API also, no? PAN number, yeah. So we are not getting PAN number in the GET API. So first I need to send the PAN number in the GET API. Let me change my API. So as I said, like I didn't test this up all the API properly. I just assume like it will work. PAN card, or let's say PAN number. What's the field name? Is equal to bank employee dot PAN number. Sorry, loan. In loan table we will have it. PAN card. Fine. That's it. Over here also. Over here also. And over here also, because we have three different applications. Let me just host the application again. So I have redeployed the API. Let's click on execute again. It's not coming over here. Let's reload the Swagger. Get all applications. Write out, execute. Wait, how come it is not still not coming? Let me just check one more time. Yes. So now you can see PAN card is coming. So this PAN card again, like we had created that interface, right? So now in the interface also we need to increase one more field, string. Fine. So now from over here, item.pan card we will send, and we need the status also, what user has selected. So for that we will pass $event, comma, or first event. Fine. So over here we will get the parameter. So what's the selected value? We will get it by this change event. So now over here we will need event colon any, then PAN number colon string. Fine. Now, so to this function, first parameter will be PAN number. So PAN number we will get in event dot target dot value, comma, second parameter will be PAN number we have to pass. Fine. Let's, and in the alert we can say status change. Let's try now. Sorry, that if and else check we need to add, because if we pass the wrong PAN number, we should get an error, or another error also we should show that. Let's just get that. This check I was looking for. So if result is true, we will show this alert. Otherwise, else error, whatever the message we get. Let's test this. Let's add a debugger in our function also. Application list. Fine. Now, if I change, but wait, why it is not selected? Okay, let's try. If I click on approved, you can see function call is there. In event, we got the whole event target dot value. You can see whatever the option we selected that we got. And in PAN number also we got. Let's continue. And in the result, we got true saying application got changed. Fine. Now let's reload. So now, wait, why it is not binding? Okay. So to bind, obviously we need to import, we need to add that value property also, no? Then only it will bind. So square bracket value is equal to item dot. Are we getting the status, application status? This we need to bind it over here so that that status will bind to the drop down. Let's check now. How come it is coming no new now? Let's check the API. Wait, it is coming new only. Let's try once again. Approved. How come it is saying new? No loan application active with this PAN number. What's the code I have written? Application status is equal to status. application status got changed. Let's check the database. So this is the record. Sorry, this is the record. Where is the application status? Wait, how come it is new only? This API is not working or what? Let me just test API one more time. So sorry for this. Sorry. So here you can see we are passing wrong data. In PAN number, we are passing rejected, and in status, we are passing something else. Fine. So let's correct it. So if we check our service API call, first parameter should be PAN card. Fine. Let's check what we are passing. And here also we are passing the PAN card. The first parameter we are passing incorrect one. PAN card should be over here. Now it should work fine. Let's test it one more time. So API is working fine. We were sending the wrong data. So by default, new is there. If I select approved, status change, even if I refresh, still approved is there. So from the table only by just changing the dropdown, we are able to change the status of the application. Fine. Now, coming back to the issue we had this. If I click on log off, still you can see it is over there. But if you see means logged in API, logged in username is showing. But if you see the session storage, data is not there, right? This is happening. And if I refresh, again, it is behaving the same. Now login button is visible. This is because once we click on the log off, wait, where is the log off? Sorry, in the over here. Once we click on the log off button, what we are doing in log off, we are removing the local storage data, correct? But we need to empty this variable in the service also. So this dot master service dot logged user data is equal to undefined. Fine. What it is saying, undefined is not assignable. So we assigned a type. How do we do that? Instead of user null, let's make it any for now. Let's check it. So now login should be working fine. If we log in, let's log in with the dummy detail. I'm logging with customer 1234. On click of login, wait, somewhere it is breaking rule. And now if I refresh, yeah, okay. So now the log off code will work fine. If I click on log off, see, login page is working. That fix is working. But once I log in, you see the defect. Once I properly log in, it is breaking somewhere. So once I log in, it is breaking up over here. And after that, over here also the logged in name is not coming. Fine. So once you login you are doing in the login component. But how app component will know that login got success? So for that, on the routing change, whenever routing getting changed, or what we can do ideal way is we can use the subject. So let's use the subject also. So once login, let's create a subject. Log user on log $subject. My subject is not coming. Let's add the import first. Subject we imported. Boolean new subject Boolean. Fine. So we created a subject. Now once user logged in, after that we will emit some value into this. So let's emit a value after login. So this dot master service. Oh, so in login component, we didn't created the instance of master service. Let's create it quickly. Inject. What we need to inject? Master service. Then this dot master service dot on logged in dot next, and we will say true. Now, once user logged in, we are emitting some value. So this we will read in our app component. In the constructor dot subscribe. Boolean value we are supposed to get. This is just an additional check to fix that login issue. If it is true, we need to read the local storage data again, right? So how we will read the data? In service, we need to, instead of writing this code over here, now let's move this code into a function. Read logged data, because this function again we need to call. And this function by default, it will be called on the log constructor. And once user logged in, again we need to call. So this dot master service dot, here it is, read logged in data. So this function again we will call. Fine, let's just save and check. Now after login, it should be properly working. One, two, three, four. Now just pay attention. If I click on login, see, username and everything is coming, nothing is breaking also. So what happening is, when we log in, we are emitting a subject value. And once the subject value is emitted, we are again, this subscribe will exit. And again, we are reading the data. So in master service, in this variable, we will get the data. So now it won't break. Got it? So basically, a very basic application we have created. As I said, in one more video I will be creating. In this video, I have completed the basic application from project setup, component creation, user registration, and everything I have created. Banker part I have left, and customer again, it's just a gate API, and in banker also it's just a normal CRUD. So that I have left. So that I will cover in the next video, where I will be covering the loader part and everything. Advanced scenarios I will be covering. Fine. So what we are able to do till now, let's log off. So as a customer, I'm able to register. Once I'm able to register, I'm able to log in also. Once I log in, let's just log in also. Once I log in, I'm able to create a new loan application also. And in application, I can see only my application. So because we have added that role check. So if the logged in role is customer, we are showing the application created by him. Fine. And if we log in as a banker, what are the applications which are assigned to me that I'm getting, and that I can change the status. Fine. So these are the things we have done. Again, I will be creating a new video where I will be covering the advanced scenario, and some dynamic form validation also we are going to cover. Fine. If you are new to my channel, please do like and subscribe. And this was a machine test someone has shared me. If you also know, or if you are preparing, or if you have some collection of the machine test, you can share it to me. I will create APIs and I will create a video for the same. Fine. So next time when you apply, at least you will have something in your head, like how do you approach a machine test. So that's it. Thank you.